Today on Legally Yes, Prince Harry alleged that Prince William secretly reached a settlement with newsgroup newspapers over historical phone hacking claims. Plus, Ed Sheeran takes the stand, Morgan Wallace is sued by a fan, and what's next for Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson? We've got that plus so much more on today's Legally Yes. Hey everyone, welcome to Legally Yes. I'm Christina. That's, of course, Neama Rahmani, President and CEO of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Hi, Neama. How are you?
Great, Christina. How you doing?
Good. You know, Prince Harry is back in the news. I feel like we talk about him every week, but people are interested. And he alleged in these new legal documents that his brother, Prince William, secretly reached a settlement with newsgroup newspapers over this historical phone hacking claim. So the documents are part of a lawsuit that Prince Harry filed against NGN for alleged unlawful information gathering, including the phone hacking. So in the papers, Prince Harry's lawyer actually claims that the Prince of Wales agreed to settle with the media corporation for a very large sum back in 2020. So according to CNN, Harry also claimed that his late grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, was also aware of William's alleged settlement and discussions with NGN. So NGN owns the Sun newspaper, previously owned News of the World, which closed in 2011. And before its closure, reporters used private investigators to gain access to voicemails, accounts held by people of interest. In 2007, a News of the World editor and private investigator were convicted of illegally intercepting phone messages from members of the royal family. And then they said that the royal family had an agreement in place that the royal family really couldn't go after them and file any lawsuits. And Harry became aware of this back in 2012. So NGN said that there was no such secret agreement. But now this is interesting that this settlement is coming forward. So if William got a settlement, does that mean that this secret agreement with NGN and the royals was not in place?
That's absolutely right, Christina. I mean, if there is an agreement not to sue, essentially a settlement or a release of claims, then Prince Harry can't sue. The issue in this case is the prince waited too long to file. So there's a statute of limitations in the UK, and the newspapers are saying your claims are barred by that statute. That's why the prince is saying, I was misled, I was defrauded, I was told that there's an agreement where I couldn't sue, but now, since that's not the case, my clock didn't start running until I was actually aware of my rights. So that's why we're going back and forth on this secret agreement in this case.
Yeah. So did it seem like Prince William did sue then and we just didn't know about it, or they just reached, or he was going to sue and they reached this private agreement?
Most lawsuits are public, even in the UK. So it sounds like there was some sort of demand or some sort of pre-litigation negotiation that resolved the claim well before a lawsuit was filed, because usually you can't file a secret lawsuit either here or in the UK.
Right. Is it almost like a little bit of a blackmail type of situation, kind of?
Yeah, you could call it down blackmail, extortion, a shakedown. You know, lawyers know that, when a lawsuit is filed, all the dirty laundry is going to be aired in a very public way. So sometimes they'll try to get into an early mediation or just resolve it before a lawsuit's filed, because we know the press is going to have a field day with a case like this.
Yeah, we know that things are icy between the brothers. So why would Harry's lawyer make this public? Is it to make Prince William look bad? Is it to make NGN look bad? Is it to make them both look bad?
Well, it's a little bit of both, right? He's going to show that, Prince William entered in this settlement and got a big payout, but also to try to move Prince Harry's claims forward to say, listen, he would have filed had he been aware of his rights. He was iced out. He was kept in the dark, and try to convince a UK judge that it's not fair for one brother to receive a substantial settlement while the other does not.
Yeah, I'm sure he's probably not happy that Prince William didn't give him a heads up about this one. So does this help or hurt Harry's case at all?
I mean, it does help because, if NGN entered into a settlement with another brother, another victim, right, then a judge might say, well, it's not fair for Prince William to reap the benefit of the settlement where another brother gets his claim denied entirely on a technical issue, an important one, the statute of limitations, but a technical ground nonetheless. So, in terms of fairness, the judge is going to have to sort through all this. The judge may say, well, it's not fair for one brother to be able to move his claim forward, but another does not.
We'll have to wait and see what happens. All right. Well, Ed Sheeran took the stand in court during his copyright infringement trial. So he is accused of using Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On to create his hit song, Thinking Out Loud. So lawyers for the heirs of Marvin Gaye's Co-writer claimed to have a smoking gun during the trial and explained that Sheeran combined songs during a concert at one point and called that basically his confession. So when footage of the concert was played, showing Ed transitioning from one song to the next, Ed said that this is pretty common for performers to incorporate other artists' songs during the performances. He said, "I'd be an idiot to stand on stage in front of 20,000 people and do that," saying that he copied the song. His lawyers have maintained that the song only uses foundational elements of pop music. Marvin Gaye's estate says that there's striking similarities and overt common elements that amount to copyright infringement. So who do you think was going to come out on top on this one? And are you surprised that this moved to a trial?
Well, Christina, normally I like to make predictions, but this one's going to be tough because I'm not a musician. And really the standard is, are the songs substantially similar? So it's really going to be up for a jury to sort that out. I can say, though, Gaye and his partner's families have been pretty litigious in protecting the deceased musician's songs. So they've filed lawsuits like this in the past, and they've been pretty successful. I believe they got multi-million dollars from Robin Thicke in a previous copyright infringement suit. But also Ed Sheeran has defended these types of copyright cases successfully as well. So you have two different groups of musicians who have been pretty successful in copyright litigation. So this is going to be interesting to see who comes out on top.
Yeah. Is it hard to prove in a copyright infringement litigation? Is it hard to prove both sides pretty much? Because how can you prove that he was essentially ripping this off? And, I would imagine this is a tough one to decipher.
Yeah, it's tough. It reminds me of, when we were kids and, people would plagiarize, right? The question is, did you change enough words? Is it exactly the same? Did you lift passages entirely? So that's really kind of what we're dealing with here. And obviously, as a lawyer, I could probably tell you about plagiarism, but when it comes to music, the jurors are going to have to get into those weeds, right? And say, listen, do these sound the same? There's going to be a lot of listening in that courtroom there in New York.
Yeah. If a jury does find Ed Sheeran guilty, what happens next? Will he have to pay the Marvin Gaye's heirs a lump sum? Will he have to pay royalties to them? What happens next if he is found guilty?
Yeah, if the jury finds in Gaye's favor, then Sheeran's going to have to pay damages, and the damages maybe millions of dollars, because that's typically how much these hits are worth, right? Because in terms of downloads, in terms of album sales, concerts, that's where the experts come in and they talk about damages. So there's two phases of the trial: liability, who's at fault, was the Sheeran song infringing? And the second, if it was, what are the damages to Gaye's family? And the experts are going to come in, and economists, and they're going to value these songs, and they're going to say, listen, it's going to be worth 1 million, 10 million, maybe even more. And a jury's going to have to decide how much money, if any, to pay Gaye and their family.
Definitely. We'll have to wait and see. Well, it is a music episode of Legally Us because Morgan Wallen, he was being sued by a fan after he canceled a concert in Mississippi at the last minute. A class action lawsuit was filed by a concert goer, Randy Burkham, on April 25th after he pulled out of a performance 2 days prior. She stated in court documents that the venue promised refunds. However, she had yet to be issued her money back ahead of the complaint. So he originally faced backlash. Morgan faced backlash after he pulled out of his performance minutes before he was scheduled to take the stage, saying that the doctor ordered vocal rest. Well, after the canceled event, an attendee shared a TikTok video where a security guard claimed that he was actually too drunk to take the stage. So this lawsuit has been dismissed. They denied that he was too drunk, and a rep told us that refunds were issued yesterday by the venue, and those credits will hit the customer accounts within 3 to 5 days, which is standard procedure. So does it seem like this fan acted a little bit premature and didn't give the company enough time to issue a refund?
I think that's right, Christina. Maybe this was a super fan or someone who was really pissed off, that they wasted their evening waiting for Morgan. But really the question in these cases goes back to damages, right? If you have a refund, the price of your ticket's been refunded, whether it's 3 days or 5 days or whatever the case may be, even if you go forward and win, you don't really have any damages. So in these types of cases, better to wait, see what the venue, see what the musician does before filing your lawsuit. Maybe this person was a lawyer, maybe they're particularly litigious or just pissed off. But normally you don't see class action lawsuits like this filed so quickly.
Right. And it seems like it was dismissed as soon as it was filed pretty much. And it seems like, but could fans, if he was too drunk to perform, could they still go after him? Is this worth any type of legal avenue? If anybody really wanted to pursue this, is it really even worth it?
Probably not. I mean, it'd be a very tough argument, a legal stretch, because even if he's too drunk to perform, bottom line is he can't perform. So
Right.
what you're entitled to your money back. You're not getting, you pay money for a ticket, right? That, entitles you to go to the venue, you get a license to go there and listen to a musician, right? That's the bargain for exchange. That's the contract. So if you don't get what you bargained for, the musician, the concert, then you get a refund of what you gave up as part of your side. So you get your money back. So it's going to be hard for anyone to get anything more than that, even if you happen to be too drunk to perform.
Sorry, guys. All right. Well, moving on. This was surprising. So Don Lemon, of course, raised some eyebrows when he was alleged that he was blindsided by CNN's termination after nearly 2 decades. He said that he was informed by his agent that he was terminated by CNN. He said that he was stunned. He said, after 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. At no time was he ever given any indication that he wouldn't continue. Well, CNN said that wasn't the case. They said Don Lemon's statement about this morning events is inaccurate. He was offered an opportunity to meet with the management, but instead released a statement on Twitter. So that same day, Fox News also confirmed that Tucker Carlson has left the network after more than a decade. Now, his surprising departure comes less than a week after Fox News reached a settlement of $1.6 billion in a defamation lawsuit filed by Dominion Voting Systems. They claim that they were owed damages by Fox News, who knowingly aired false claims about their role in the 2020 election. Tucker Carlson, for his part, was among the hosts and executives that were questioned as part of the lawsuit. So, the case was settled for, like we said, almost $1 billion. But so it's interesting now that there's reports that both of these anchors have hired the same attorney. So what do you think that they are hoping for in this next step? What kind of settlement do you think that they're going to get from these networks?
Well, Christina, they're hoping to get paid. And these are the types of employees that have employment contracts that have different provisions, termination for cause and without cause. And we've seen this in previous host cases that we've talked about, like Good Morning America, for instance. So let's start with Don Lemon. I mean, his case is going to be challenging because the allegations are that he was terminated for making some disparaging comments about specifically Nikki Haley, saying that she was not in her prime because she was too old. So a lot of folks who watched were offended, even his co-host at the time, and thought that those remarks may be sexist, they may be ageist. So, if, Time Warner and CNN, they can prove that, or those comments were inappropriate, I think they would have grounds to terminate him for cause. Now, obviously, if it's for some other issue that's prohibited, such as his race or something like that, well, that'd be an entirely different story, and he would have a very good employment claim then.
And what about Tucker Carlson? Does it seem like he was let go because of his involvement in this settlement with Dominion?
Possibly, and this is a decision that was made by Rupert Murdoch, of course, the chairman of Fox and Fox News. So this was his decision, reportedly made it personally. So obviously Fox got hit with a probably record-breaking defamation settlement, $787 million. That's a lot of money for spreading misinformation after the 2020 election. And this was a case that really was about to go to trial. The jury was selected there in New York, and it was a last-minute 11th hour settlement. But that's a lot of money, even though Fox reportedly has about $4 billion in cash reserves. And Tucker Carlson, of course, was one of the hosts who was really talking about the election being stolen and these voting machines being used in an improper way. So I don't know if it has to do with that or some other personal issue with respect to Murdoch and Carlson, but I'm not surprised, because usually when something bad like that happens at any company, heads are going to roll.
And that is true. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Well, Neama, thank you so much as always. Everybody keep commenting, keep subscribing, and we will see you guys next week. For more news content and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.